Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, had this report earlier today about Jarvis Landry and the Saints.
Yeah, and I think this makes a lot of sense. You know, right when it became clear that Jarvis Landry was going to be available, the Saints popped up as a potential destination. They got some studs at receiver. Michael Thomas, pretty good football player, assuming he's healthy, which it sounds like he is. But they do need a slot receiver. They do have some money for it, and this would, of course, fill in a big-time hole before the draft. The only issue here to me, we'll see what happens at the end of the day, but it seems to me more like research and due diligence for the Saints as opposed to something imminent. Could happen, never say never. Anytime a player is on a visit is always worth monitoring, but Landry is likely going to decide between the Saints and the Cleveland Browns. I'm not so sure this happens until after the draft, or really maybe right before. So it doesn't seem like anything's imminent today, but obviously an important and big visit for Jarvis Landry nonetheless.
That is really interesting to me that Jarvis is probably not going to decide until after the draft. That is a really calculated gamble on Jarvis Landry's behalf. Here's what I mean. Can we all agree that when you look at this wide receiver draft class, it's stacked, right? I mean, like, we all kind of agree that this is a loaded draft class at receiver. If you're talking about the Ohio State guys, if it's Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, there's Treylon Burks from Arkansas, Jamison Williams from Alabama, who I know, John Mechie from Alabama, a couple of guys coming off of knee injuries. I mean, George Pickens from Georgia, Drake London. I mean, some of those guys have injuries that they're working through. But still, Jahan Dotson, I mean, you are loaded with really talented players in this receiver class. So if you're Jarvis Landry and you're trying to command top dollar on this contract and you wait until after the draft, my goodness, there's the possibility that the most wide receiver needy teams spend, air quotes, big in this draft with draft capital and aren't in a position to spend money on Jarvis Landry. So a couple of things. Number one, I want to be very clear about this. I love Jarvis Landry. Jarvis is in my top 5 favorite LSU football players ever. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He is in my top 5 favorite LSU football players ever. He has got that dog in him. I love the fact that he would split dudes in half on special teams. The fact that you threw anything in a certain catch radius, he was coming down with it. No question. I mean, and he carried that into his NFL career. I mean, Odell had this amazing start to his NFL career, record-setting, bested only by Jarvis, who came after him. Like, love Jarvis Landry. Would love to see him in the black and gold. Make no mistake about it. Team-oriented, great for the locker room. Will do anything you need him to do. All that, I'm totally with it. The big question is cost, because you already have a player on a $100 million contract with that skill set. I know Michael Thomas is 6'3", but Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry in many ways are the same. They're dudes that you put in the slot. They're going to catch the ball inside of 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's their role. For his career, Michael Thomas has averaged 11.7 yards per reception. Jarvis Landry, for his career, has averaged 11.0 yards per reception. They're basically, functionally, the same guy. The Saints need a receiver. I'm not saying they don't need Jarvis. I'm not saying they don't need another slot receiver. I mean, Marcus Colston and Lance Moore were similar in what they did, but they both coexisted for a long time in this offense and did exceptionally well. But they also had Devery Henderson, who could blow the top off. You had Brandon Cooks, who could blow the top off. You had Ted Ginn for a brief window anyway, late in his career, who could blow the top off. You don't have that guy on this roster. They thought it would be Traquan Smith. He stinks. So if the nicest thing you can say about Traquan Smith is that he's a good blocker, kick rocks. You need the guy that can stretch a defense, that can stretch the field. You don't have him. That's not Jarvis. So you got it. So even if you sign Jarvis Landry, that doesn't eliminate the need for receiver in the draft, because you got to get the guy who can blow the top off a defense, because you don't have that guy on your roster. You could try to sell me on Deontay Hardy, and I think he's a magnificent story. He's an all-pro returner, and he's proven to be a very serviceable NFL receiver. But I don't think he's a 1 or a 2 in this league. He is at best a 3. And at best a 3. And I'm not even so sure he's that. But I would love Jarvis on this team, but not at the expense of taking a game-breaking receiver in the draft. Listen, a lot of people today are talking about Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel averaged over 18 yards of reception last season. That led the NFL. That's what this team needs, is a guy with that skill set. So if you're going to sign Jarvis, then it's got to be for the right price. And I know what's happening here is Jarvis is looking around, and he signed a contract in 2018. It was a 5-year, $75 million contract, which averaged out to $15.1 million per year. Look at the deals that dudes are signing this offseason at receiver. Tyreek Hill's deal is paying him $30 million a year. That's double what Jarvis is making. Devontae Adams, $28 million per. That's $13 million more per year than Jarvis. DeAndre Hopkins is at $27,250. Stephon Diggs just got a new deal, paying him $24 million a year. DJ Moore's making $20 million a year. Keenan Allen, $20 million. Mike Williams, $20 million a year. Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, $20 million per year. The new deal Brandon Cooks just got, $19.8. Michael Thomas's deal pays him $19.2. Christian Kirk's making $18. Kenny Golladay, $18. All these receivers are making more money per year than Jarvis under his current deal. So Jarvis Landry is going to want to get broke off. And I don't think that the Saints, with Michael Thomas already on a $100 million contract, can afford to give Jarvis what he wants. But if it comes down to the Saints and Cleveland, and look, Jarvis, when it was looking like Deshaun Watson might go to Atlanta, remember, Jarvis took a visit to Atlanta. I mean, that may be his preferred destination. As much as we'd love to see him at home, he may prefer to go be at a place where he's familiar with it, he's familiar with the coaching staff, he's familiar with the offense, and now Deshaun Watson comes in. That may be where he wants to be. And he's using this Saints interest to maybe create some type of leverage against Cleveland. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But if Jarvis is going to wait until after the draft, I think it's going to limit his opportunities. And I still don't believe he's going to get the number that he wants. In the same way that Marcus Williams thought he was going to get number 1 safety money, in the same way that Teron Armstead thought he was going to get Trent Williams money, it didn't work out. At this point, Jarvis, I don't think he's getting that deal either. How much are the Saints willing to pay when you've got $96 million invested into Michael Thomas and you're paying him $19 million a year? Are you really going to turn around when you have a need at left tackle, you have a need at safety, you have a need on the defensive line, that you're going to invest that much money in another receiver? Or do you look and say, we got Mike Thomas back healthy, let's go draft a game breaker, a stretch the field guy that we could pay on a rookie deal for the next 4 or 5 years? And then we have Marquez Callaway as a 3. You still got Traquan hanging around, although he ain't going to do nothing. You got Deontay Hardy. Now you got an offense that looks much better just with Mike Thomas returning than it did a year ago. And then you add a top draft pick in this year's draft class. And it doesn't cost you what Jarvis wants. Look, I'll say it again. At the right price, if Jarvis Landry wants to be a Saint, I'm all for it. But it's got to be at the right price, especially because he's not bringing the skill set, the differentiating skill set that this offense needs. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.